the average person serving in Congress. Remember, they use that word. They don't have a job. They're serving in Congress. This is their master. This is the defender of what they're serving, the ideas of the Constitution. This is the guardian that protects them as they're supposedly protecting the Constitution. This is their master, we the people. How much are they serving? How much do they get paid in the service? This, by the way, is not an average salary. This is what they all get. This is the basic salary. $174,000. Which one is the master and which one is the servant? Which one has the most to be grateful for and yet doesn't seem to be? It goes back to the idea of cleaning out the stuff in our life. Maybe it's that they have too much. I want to show you some of our congressional leaders. And this happens on both sides. Harry Reid. Harry Reid was elected to the Senate in 1986 for serving 4 years in the House. When he entered the Senate, he was worth, and believe me, I'm a capitalist. I don't care how much you're worth. More the merrier, brother. He was worth 1.8 when he entered the Senate. How much was he worth 2 years ago? How's your 401k doing? Nancy Pelosi. She was elected to Congress in 1987. 2 years later, her estimated worth was $7.5 million. Today, $21.7 million. How is it that these people are getting rich? How is it? How is it a guy who served honorably? This guy served honorably. When he was in service of his country, he served honorably. How did he leave the service making this kind of wage and go right directly to Congress, and now he can afford a vacation home that he doesn't even pay taxes on? How did that happen? How did that happen? We have to cut our budgets. We have to. Here's what I'd like to propose, and I would like to ask you to take this on. You make the difference. These guys in Washington could not say no. They couldn't say no to this. Congressmen, here it is, congressmen shall not be paid more than those who are currently serving on the front line of duty. They shall never make more than that. There's no reason why congressmen should be able to enrich themselves, make more than a guy who is on the front lines fighting, somebody who's in a tank right now, somebody else who's risking his life to save a child in another country. Are you kidding me? There is no justification for congressional salaries. None. Demand Congress lower their salaries and their benefits to the same benefits offered to our soldiers, period. I'm going to take it a step further. Federal employees should not be allowed to ever make more than this. Ever. Last year, the average household income, $49,000. It's up to $50,000 now. You know what? Congress should only get raises, and people in the federal government should only get raises if the citizens get raises. Members of Congress should never make more than the people who die on our battlefields. Congress, I know you've got a lot of special perks. Your medical care should be exactly the same that the VA hospital gives out. You are in the service of your country. If you don't like it, then maybe you should offer benefits that are a little better at the VA hospitals. Oh, and there's one more thing. They're not going to like it because they have to keep 2 homes. Oh, Congress, I've got that solved for you. I'm more than happy, and I know people, maybe Habitat for Humanity will come and help build barracks for you to live in.
Those are some of the solutions. Next, how to survive the storm in the meantime. We're back with our 1-hour special focusing on the economy and history. Now my thoughts on one of the most famous phrases of all time, and what I think should have been said instead.
Let me utter my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
You know, that is a fabulous soundbite, and for about 60 years we've revered that statement for some reason. I don't really, maybe because we thought that the New Deal was the solution. Basically, he's saying what Barack Obama has just said, quote, we're hardwired not to always think clearly when we're scared, and the country's scared. Well, how does either statement help us? They don't. Unless you're the person making that statement and you've just said, here's the solution, and you're not thinking clearly. Follow me. That leads you to being enslaved to the government. Here's a phrase that I do believe actually helps. The only thing we have to fear is being unprepared. Why? Because if you're unprepared, you have to look to somebody else for help. Anything. When things get tough, help. If you're prepared, you'll be able to survive. You'll help others. How could it possibly be a bad thing to prepare yourself for any eventuality? I mean, isn't that the Boy Scout motto, be prepared? Isn't that what we teach in all of our military academies? Be prepared. Educate yourself and your family on history and current events. Find God. 40-day and 40-night challenge. Simplify your life and find things of real value. Get out of debt and prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Well, you know what? My gosh, how horrible. Glenn Beck is fear-mongering. He's now telling people what? To get out of debt and to buy food and supplies? Yes. Yes, I am. Things change tonight. I'm getting ready for my 2011 New Year's resolution, which is, I don't care what anybody says. I don't really care, because this will be the winning slogan in 2012. Yes, I can. If we are strong individuals working together after we've strengthened ourselves as individuals, we can accomplish miracles. Americans have and will again. The difference now is the disaster has not hit us fully yet. People are still just waking up. We have a chance to get prepared. If we're not prepared, we will make the wrong decision.
More ideas on how to be prepared during these uncertain times next. I told you in the last segment about things we could do to prepare for what else might be headed our way. But here are a few more ideas that I'd like you to mull over. When I say be prepared for the things that are coming as a result of all these progressive Republican and Democratic policies, I'm called a fearmonger. Well, it doesn't address whether or not those things are happening. They can call me whatever they want. I don't care. Here is what is coming. Inflation, higher interest rates, higher energy prices, higher food prices. So prepare. I'll say it again. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. That was a nice sounding slogan, but what does that even mean? Nothing. The only thing we have to fear is being unprepared. When you're prepared, you don't fear. But more and more propaganda is coming in the days and weeks ahead because they're intentionally putting us into a pressure cooker. They are intentionally putting us here. And the more things heat up and get out of control, the more the government will be forced to clamp down. If you watch Star Wars, they're already telling you things that are not true. Like deflation is coming, not inflation. Well, that might be true in the housing market, but have you gone to the grocery store? We can see that with our own eyes. Go to the grocery store. Pump the gas. Notice the price. Has it gone up? Why has it gone up? Inflation. They're deflating. They are collapsing the dollar in a controlled way. You can see these things are not true.
Now, here's what I believe, that people are waking up in waves. The first wave happened really with a Tea Party, happened about 1.5 years ago. But I sense another wave of people waking up is coming. And we have to be ready to welcome them. There are more unemployed. There will be more people that are struggling as groceries go up much, much more. I showed you the predicted inflation prices on certain items. This is from the, what was it, the American Inflation Institute or something? I don't know if any of this is true. $77 for a can of coffee. Will that happen? I don't know. We called several experts to verify. You think this is true? They said no, they don't think that's true because they just think people won't have any money to be able to afford $77 coffee. So it might stop at $40, but nobody will be able to buy it. I don't know. I just do know that everything in your grocery store and at the gas pump will cost more soon. So what to do? Have faith. Have hope in the truth and charity in your heart. You must be a shelter for others. Just like when George Soros was growing up in Hungary, there were those hostile forces inside of the government and outside of the government. You must be a shelter for others. You can't panic. I've told you before about the Titanic. When the ship hit that iceberg, many of the passengers stayed in their cabins. Well, pretty soon, the water was coming up into their rooms. I don't think this is actual footage of the Titanic, but water started coming into their rooms. Before they knew it, it was up to their ankles. Then it was waist high. That is what's happening to America. And as it goes up floor by floor, as this thing starts to, more people come out onto the deck. More people will begin to wake up. You have to be educated so you can quickly educate them and then help them while they are freaking out. You won't be panicking because you're not a fearmonger. I'm not a fearmonger. We're just the ones being prepared.
Final thoughts next. I've said it before, and I truly believe it. I believe this audience will change the course of this nation, and thus change the course of the world if we do the hard work, especially before the problem really hits. Learn history. Read for yourself. Question with boldness. Learn about what worked and what didn't. Don't have a horse in the race. Just don't repeat the mistakes of the past. And of course, always be prepared. I want to say a special thank you to Columbia Professor David Buckner for his insight this hour. And thank you for watching from New York. Good night, America.